opportunity to visit TM Horsehaven, and I did some chores around the farm. So today I have invited Kyle, who is the founder of TM Horsehaven, into the studio, and we are going to chat. Welcome to the show, Kyle.
Hey, how's it going?
Going really well.
Good.
So last time I came to you, and we did a whole bunch of things kind of around the farm. So I would love to take a look at that video and then ask you a bunch of questions about what it's actually like to do your job.
I love it. Let's go for it.
All right, take a look at this. Here we are at this incredible place with tons of animals. Are there some things that you might need help with?
I think there are plentiful things that we could have you do between the goats and the chickens and the horses. And so, if you want to start, I feel like usually getting the chickens some treats early in the morning would be good.
Yeah.
And their favorite treats are mealworms and dead grasshoppers. And they like to be hand-fed, so you're good with that, right?
Yes, let's hand feed the chickens.
All right.
Let's do it.
Let's go get them and go find the chickens.
All right.
All right. And sometimes, have you ever just wanted to give the goat a hug?
Hold the goat?
Have you ever just wanted to hold a goat
Sure.
before? Yeah, you just kind of right there. You got it. Sometimes you just want to hold the goat, and he feels so loved right now. This is usually we usually do this like 20 minutes or so. So if you could just kind of keep holding. I'm just kidding. You just put him down. He's fine. These ones weigh more probably because of all these treats you keep giving them.
Right.
But you can get up to like the 60 to 80 pound goat. These are Nigerian. Okay, I feel like the chickens are getting mad that we're not giving them attention.
All right.
So how about we well first, so these now.
So what are these?
These are the dead mealworms. They love these. Okay.
This is what the chickens are gonna eat.
The chickens are gonna love it. You can just bend down and they'll eat it right out of your hand.
Put it on my hand? Okay.
Right out of your hand.
Woo.
Well, if you drop it on the ground first, that
I
looks
was gonna say, then they won't.
Bingo,
Goats,
you don't.
go away.
Bingo, you don't need them.
All right, here we go. Come on, chickens.
That's Benny.
Hi, Benny.
We said we wanted all female chickens, and then a few months later, that one started making some noises. So we figured, maybe there's something going on, but
Right.
All right, I think should we move on to the dead grasshoppers for? I think
Sure.
that's probably what every news
One of my
person
chefs
wants.
brought some grasshoppers
Really?
for us to use
That's
on the
perfect.
show.
I mean, look at the good size of those guys too.
Yum.
That's just
Come on, chickens.
The good thing is then your hand usually smells like them for a good week or so.
Oh, great. Thanks
So,
for that. I appreciate it.
No problem. Bingo, they're not for you.
This is how we learn if this is going to be the right job for you. If you would like to have your hands smell like
Exactly.
grasshoppers, get a job feeding chickens.
But see, now they feel loved, and now I think so we can look for some eggs. See if they gave us and with the price of eggs right now, it's like a gold mine.
I was going to say,
right?
We're rich after this.
Yep. So we'll go down to the chicken coop and
Collect some eggs.
Yeah. Maybe get cozy in here, but
Oh, yeah, my hands do smell like grass.
oh, I know. Okay, well now so this is and y'all come in, so make sure we get space because we do have eggs to collect.
Look at that. Okay.
And then those chickens are sitting on eggs, so you actually still need to collect them. You just kind of reach under there gingerly and get the eggs.
From under the chicken?
Yeah, and then obviously you see the other ones there that are kind of just hanging out. You're rolling up your sleeves.
I was going to say, let me roll up my sleeves.
That is a good.
Before I go in and under a chicken.
Sure.
I can't just grab these easy ones?
You can.
Really?
You can get those. You just kind of slowly just lift up. She's like, sure, no problem.
Oh, yeah, there's an egg.
Oh.
I did it.
See?
Thank you, chicken. And then here's the...
Oh my God, you're doing all right. Here we go.
All right.
Let's see what else we got. Keep going.
Okay. Got some chicken eggs.
All right, and then we got one more in the corner.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, she's not happy
She's
about
just trying
that.
to make friends.
Oh wow, she's got 3 under here
See,
that she's hiding.
she's a busy lady.
All right. Now, did she lay all 3 of these different
No.
eggs?
And 1 or 2 of these actually, if you're like, wait, that looks like not even a real egg. 1 or 2 of these are like kind of like the fake dummy eggs, so they know like, oh, lay here. But then like the rest of them are real. So we get about, let's see, probably about 12 eggs a day from them. There's 18, 19 chickens running around, and and then we sell those for things like $6 a dozen or so, or just eat a lot of omelets or whatever else.
Do a lot of baking.
Exactly. So,
Awesome.
all right. So we've done the goats. chickens hung out. I think you should graduate to like the larger animal.
Okay.
You know, but maybe we start slow just with some of the larger animal like cleanup. Okay,
Sure.
let's go do that.
Let's go clean large animals.
Let's do it. Okay, so one of the other things I was saying, so just, you want to take good care of them. So every day, get them out. We're brushing them. We pick their feet. Right now, it's shedding. And so I started on Rocky. I did want to maybe just start you on something maybe a little easier.
Okay.
So I think you're doing great.
This right?
King, yep. King.
What's this one's name?
Okay, so that's King Louie. He's about a year old. He won't get much bigger. And I think he likes you. I think he's enjoying all this attention. So
well, thank you so much for having me here today and letting me try out your job. All right, Kyle. I had a ton of fun doing your job. That horse actually reminds me of little Sebastian from Parks and Rec.
Oh, yes. He's probably better than little Sebastian, but I've never met, so.
I think so, yeah. But it was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot about the chickens, that you have to teach them where to lay the eggs. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, what do you have to do? How do you really get started with a farm? Like, did you have specialized training? What did you study to start TM Horsehaven?
I would say I studied a lot of YouTube videos and a whole lot of we can figure that out sort of thoughts in my head. So no, after we had the dream was kind of made after watching my kids kind of spend some time with some horses. I had the opportunity to volunteer at a barn and just kind of fell in love with a little bit of a slower pace and time with the animals. My wife says that it's like, I'm like a closet animal lover. Like I'm finally just like, oh my gosh, I do love spending time with animals so much. So, and then we just start collecting more and more of them. So, but no, so we just kind of started out, and then from there we
just kept on building.
It's so hard to figure out how to explain it. So we bought a barn, right? We needed to renovate the barn, so we went from there and kind of tore all the different stuff out, and then we had to add on and build, and then kind of think about what animals we want. So obviously horses we knew were coming, so we had to have stalls. But then for the chickens and the goats, some people want them in the barn, some people want them like outside. So we have like a goat and chicken house. That's what you see in the video. But I'm not sure there was like a right or wrong way, but to figure out that it was like a year and a half. So it's like trying to put that all down and do a few things is rough. But I would definitely say a lot of trial and error, and then asking for help. Always ask for help.
Yeah, and I like that you sort of got this started with the informal YouTube world of training. But what did you study in school? Did you go to school?
So funny enough, I did. I graduated from Illinois State. That's back like in 2007. A degree in history. I had a minor in politics. I used none of those.
Okay.
So from there, I worked for a Christian ministry for about 10, 11 years. Started a couple different local businesses. And then really it was, it's like I think in life it's like we're always going after what's next, or the financial wealth, or climbing the ladder. But I'm not sure that always brings the happiness, right? And so what I found is kind of the happiest time that my family had was we were hanging out at this barn, and the kids were doing riding lessons, and we were learning about the animals. And from there, it's kind of like, well, why don't we try to kind of create that and create it in a way that other people can come and enjoy it.
That's a really good origin story. Mm-hmm. I love that you sort of have done all these other things, but then that wasn't what was bringing the most joy into your life. So ultimately, now you've started this place that does bring joy for you and your family.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, I have a whole list of questions of what it takes to get it all done, but we are going to take a 2-minute break first, and then we will be right back with Kyle. Welcome back to Jaclyn Does My Job. Before the break, we were chatting with Kyle about what it takes to work at TM Horsehaven and why he founded that business. So my next question for you, Kyle, is what does a typical day look like for you?
Sure. So I would say there's a couple components of the day that don't change no matter what. 365 days a year. So the animals, they need to eat, they need to drink. We need to clean up after them so they have a good, safe place to live. So usually everyone starts different. We're around 7:30 in the morning. You go out and start the chores, and so that encompasses everything I just said. So you got to grain the horses and the goats, and let the chickens out, give them their feed. You got to make sure that everybody's got fresh water every day. We'll put the horses out there in their lots, got to clean the stalls. And so it's kind of some of the same stuff over and over again, but that all just has to be done, and that usually takes a good 2 or 3 hours to get you almost to the kind of mid-morning or so. I keep a long sheet of like the kind of like the to-do list that you have, but not a honey-do list, kind of like the barn-do list, where it's either stuff that needs to get fixed or taken care of, or we're always trying to, improve the site that we're on, if we're, putting up some new pasture or new fences are needed or what it is. We do those. Sometimes, depending on, it's not every day, but usually a couple times a week for like animal care, I guess you could call it, So it's like for the horses, if that's making sure that each horse is getting brushed, that we're picking their feet to make sure everything is going well and that's all staying clean. Even with goats, you need to trim their hooves, and chickens kind of do a once over to make sure that they're staying clean as well. So I would say probably maybe like the chores and animal care, that's probably a good like 4 to 6 hours a day, or at least it is for us. Maybe other people are faster, but is doing that. And then, depending on it, there's always like a side job or something else that needs to get done. And when you have, we only have about 5 acres there, but then obviously the grass grows, the trees grow, and that needs mowed and cut and stuff, and, and everything else. So.
That makes sense. And is it just you that does all of these chores, or who is your team?
No, if people are watching this, they know Kyle. They're like, yeah, right. No, so I am there as much as I can be. I enjoy it, but for me, we knew that in order to kind of have something of this capacity with that many animals and stuff like that, we'd have to have somebody full time. So we have a full time employee who he kind of lives right on site, who 40 to 50 hours a week. His main job is just caring for the animals and caring for the property. So obviously we supplement that, or when there's nights that we need to take care of things or be over there so we can have days off. But I don't think it's something where you have to have somebody. So if this is something someone was interested in and they, this was their passion, like of course they could do all of it. But I knew for us and for me, where I still had a few other businesses that I needed to kind of tend to, and the care I wanted the animals to have, we were going to have somebody devoted to them.
Right. Well, that actually kind of brings me to my next question. Is a good segue. Is how is your work-life balance, as far as how much are you actually tending to the farm? How much are you doing your other jobs? And then how much time are you at home playing board games with your kids?
Yep. I'm lucky that I get to blend the balance of family time that all the kids like. Love the horses and the time with the animals and being out there, so we do get to share a lot of time out there. I think work-life balance, as I get older, I don't think I'm mature, but I get older, is just kind of learning, the different pockets of time when I can do stuff. So I'm an early kind of riser, so I actually usually get most stuff done, at that 4:30 to 6:30 a.m. category, and then that allows the rest of my day to be a little more flexible, if that's checking in on the other businesses or knowing if there is a set project I need to be at the barn for. A lot of times at weekends, it's interesting because it is our family spending time together, but something that just kind of took off. A lot of people are enjoying having their birthdays out at the barn, and so we've been doing a lot of birthday parties where the kids get to be up close with the animals as much as they want to, just like you did, and and so my daughters help work those, and so that's kind of fun to do it all together.
That is really nice that you can incorporate them, and I think it's probably really good for them to get that sort of early education and hands-on training and job training and all that stuff.
Yes. It's usually my 11-year-old Kennedy is usually driving by in the Polaris or the tractor that I didn't know, but so I gotta believe in 4 or 5 years, drivers, that'll be no problem.
Exactly. I'm thinking, if you can drive a tractor, how hard can a car be?
Totally.
And then what is your favorite and your least favorite part of your job?
I would say my favorite part, so it's probably tucked in the different moments, and so part of actually, so TM, it's not trademarked, so TM Horsehaven actually, the name we came up with is Tranquility Munching, and so there's something about being in the barn in the early morning when the horses are eating, and just, it sounds weird, but I just sit there and listen to them eat and take about 3 or 4 minutes, and so I think in a world where we're so busy doing stuff, checking emails, staring at your phone, my favorite part is just what it provides me for a few minutes in those kind of quiet times, if that makes sense.
Sure.
My least favorite part, it's just water in general. Now, I could go on for like 30 minutes, but we don't have time, right? But I feel like the water doesn't like me. It either like freezes in the winter, right? And so then I can't get it going. Or it's like it's spraying out the wrong direction somewhere. The water that we had to do a bunch of stuff to make sure that it, because it's just off of, a well, make sure to treat it correctly and everything. And so I'm always constantly trying to make sure our water quality is right. And so my wife would tell you the same thing. There's something about or it rains and I didn't know it was going to rain, and then the hole fills with water that should be a pond, but it's not a pond yet. So okay, I'm a sidetrack. Let's go back. Water. I gotta learn my love-hate relationship with water.
That's so interesting because I feel like water is usually sort of the foundation and the lifeblood of everything. And it's funny because I'm a water baby. So if you need some water luck, I'll come over and I'll help with the koi pond.
Yes, if you could bless the underground water lines that are put in, that would be amazing.
Right. Well, there you go. And I feel like there's always that thing, right? You start a business, but there's that thing that you don't think about, or no YouTube video was like, now your plumbing might be a problem. Right. So worry about the water system. Yeah. That's really interesting. Yeah. I always like those nuggets of that is not what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting you to say, but it was not that.
Sounds running businesses, negotiating $1 million deals, all that kind of stuff, no problem when it comes to like, well, hey, how does the well water get just right calibrated at the right pressure? It makes me want to freak out. So everybody has that though. So if you're going to go into a business and do stuff, there's going to be something you don't like.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Well, now if somebody had gone back and asked 10-year-old Kyle, what are you going to be when you grow up? What was your plan? Did you have an idea in your head?
At like 5, maybe it's like I want to be the policeman sort of thing as a kid or whatever. I think I thought about going into initially like teaching or like secondary education. After I became a Christian in college, the Lord kind of got my heart and took me in another direction for ministry. But I can definitely say growing up in the suburbs of Chicago, having a farm with 9 horses and 5 goats and chickens and 3 cats, that was never in the books.
That was not the plan.
No. That's usually the people who know me first time. They're like, "You have what?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh, interesting. Mm-hmm, so it was kind of a surprise, but now it seems like you really genuinely love it.
Oh yeah. Now it's definitely it sounds weird, but it's a different way of life, and things slow down a little bit. And I just enjoy everything there that affords as we have different people from the community there. There's different events or people rent it for space and seeing that kids or even adults for a lot of times if you don't interact with horses a lot or goats a lot or whatever, and we're like throw you in there, right? Get in the pen with them, do it. Oh, there's a horse, go brush him, and so I think it provides something that isn't around anywhere else, and so that brings us a lot of joy too.
And it's funny because you handing me that goat, I was not expecting that either, but I don't think I had ever been that close to a goat other than sort of through a fence at a petting zoo kind of thing. So that was a fun experience for me. So
and I think that's the feeling I got when my kids started some riding lessons. There's another local place called Meg's Riding Academy where a lot of people take lessons. So that's where she allowed me to volunteer for about a year, and that was kind of what it's like stepping into like a stable with a horse, being like, oh my goodness, like for me it was a little kid in me like, this is amazing. Now it's like I'm stepping in and out every day, moving around, shoveling poop, but
a little less glamorous.
It's a little less glamorous, but there is something I think about that for people when they're there for the first couple of times where it's just this really unique thing they get to do. And so
We are back with Kyle from TM Horsehaven, and we are finding out what it is like to be the founder of, I guess, would you call it a farm, a barn? What do you consider it?
It's kind of, yes, it's all those things. So it's like the TM Horsehaven is like the nonprofit entity in itself, but I feel like it's, I don't know, some people call it a ranch because there's horses, so I think farm is fine, I'm not a farmer though, so if anyone's watching like, that guy's not a farmer, I'm not a farmer. No.
Right, you're not claiming to be a farmer.
You all know what you're doing. I'm helping with the animals, but I think a farm works.
Farm. So what is the craziest thing that has ever happened to you at work?
I would say when the goats, so I was cleaning out the goat pen, right? And so I was using just like a normal leaf blower, and kind of blowing everything out of there. Obviously that included some, goat poop, right? And then I put the leaf blower down, and then I walked around doing something, and I was raking something, and what happened was Bingo, who I think is definitely the most mischievous goat, he stepped on the button of the blower to turn it on, and literally however it was, but we have it from like our ring cam, so then the blower was stationed just in such a way where it blew a big pile of goat poop in my face, and so my kids love that video clip. So I'm just kind of raking away doing my thing, and all of a sudden the goat steps on the machine that turns on the blower, and there's poop in my face. So
and now you have 40 million views on YouTube.
And yes, I should probably put that somewhere. But I was like, literally, it wasn't me. The goat literally blew his on me. So, go for it.
Well, there you go. And, I always wonder, because I feel like a lot of animals are smarter than we give them credit for. So how much of that was the goat had watched you push that button?
Probably.
Maybe not the intention of
trying to get it on my
poop,
face.
but thought, let me help out. Just press the
It was
button.
less than helpful, but definitely funny. So it works out.
Now, if someone is watching this show and thinking to themselves, maybe I would like to do this.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice on maybe how they could get started?
Sure.
Or?
I think the first thing would just be you can do it. I don't know who you are, whatever it is, or if you're like, but seriously, I have no skills, yada, yada, yada. Like, 15 years ago, the only tool I knew how to use was duct tape. And so it's like, literally, if this is something you want to do or whatever it might be, as you've got so many cool things and you're showing so many videos and stuff of other jobs that it's just say, yeah, I could figure that out and then kind of start on that journey. So it's like we live in a time, I joke, but it's like literally YouTube videos of how to care for animals, or it's like whatever stage we had with the animals when we needed to learn about how to care for them, we just did a whole bunch of research and kind of looked, hey, what do we need to do for the chickens at this point or whatnot?
Right.
And, obviously, I'm not going to lie, it's a lot of hard work. So you got to know, you're like, hey, am I really going to go after this? And it can take time. It took us 16 months to get the barn from where we got it to where we could actually bring animals in. And, when it's January and you're freezing and, there's a water line 6 feet in the ground, that water again, that you're trying to connect for whatever it is, it can be like, what is going on? But now, obviously, years later, you can see everything you did. So maybe that less of what you accomplish in a day, look more of what you can accomplish in a couple months sort of thing.
Right.
But go for it.
I love that. And I like that piece of inspiration, because one of my favorite quotes is, if they say it's impossible, that means it's impossible for them, not you.
Absolutely.
And I feel like I've lived my whole life that way. And I feel like sort of your exact sentiment of we don't know who you are or where you are or what exactly you're thinking, but whatever it is, do it. And so besides watch a YouTube video, what would you say is step one, regardless of whether it's starting a farm or starting any business or...
Yeah. I would say reach out, and again, it just worked for me, but figure out where can you go volunteer? Where can you go spend some time? I got to believe most places that, farms or places, ranches, animals, stuff like that, if you say, hey, I want to help. I have 2 hands. You can give me some grunt work. People can line up at my place. Welcome, call me, But I think getting the actual exposure. So less of the, that looks like so much fun, I think I love that. Like, go and do that for a couple of days or some weeks, and or do that through the seasons, and, visit, if it is the farm, visit in summer and then visit in winter, and kind of make sure kind of what you're saying yes to. But for me, it was always the hands-on. So you can, YouTube and the books and all that stuff is great, but look around, search, where can you find a place, and just start spending some time there.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Get involved. And if you do want Kyle to hand you a goat, you can come to TM Horsehaven.
Yep, just careful of the blower, but yep, you can do it. So.
Right. And my last question is, if you could go back, would you do it all again, or would you maybe do anything differently, or would you even start this business?
I would say I would do it all again, so it's like again, so it's like life for me, at least my personal belief, life is short, right? So it's like I want to spend as much time as I can with my kids while they want to spend time with me. It was rare to find something that we both enjoyed, and so really, no matter how the barn was going to turn out or all that sort of stuff, the ability to have something we loved and could do together, that was huge. And so we really enjoyed that. And now, so being able to go over there, I was just there this morning, spending time, hanging out, seeing everybody. I shouldn't say everybody, but seeing all the animals. It's a great part to have that in my life, in our life, and to be able to share that with people in the community. So we really enjoy the generosity that we're able to do with people who might not normally be able to afford, whether that's a riding lesson or to go someplace and meet animals. You can come meet ours.
And I know that was a big driver for you, and I really like that it was sort of partly your kids, but then also that desire to give back to the community. And I feel like when you sort of start things with the right intention, then ultimately things will go more smoothly. Sure, you might have a water leak, but things are going to kind of fall into place and maybe work out. Has that been your experience?
Absolutely. I think, and again, what I think is saying earlier on, when it's like, different types of wealth that we look at, and most of the time it's climbing the ladder to get to a certain dollar amount, but maybe look at instead the friendships, how much fun you're having, how many memories you're making. So I like to say, I want to use my life to invest in memories, right? So how do we keep doing that? And so ultimately, that's what this place has provided us.
And I think that that's great. Memories are the most important thing.
For sure.
Thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
being here and
Thanks
for
for
sharing all of that information with me.
Thanks for having me.
Well, if you are thinking of a career change or just are curious about opportunities and jobs that are available, I will be trying out all sorts of jobs and then talking with the people that actually do those jobs. So definitely continue to tune in. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.